people in the room who might be on the technical side and who are thinking, hey, am I really ready to make the leap and become like a Ravi or a Tushar or a Ranjit or a Primit? Or maybe I should just stick to being a techie. What advice would you give them in a line or two, starting with Ravi?
I think the one thing I talk about here is that I actually never thought I'd be an entrepreneur. Just like all of us, come to US, had a stint at Microsoft for about 6 years, so I just started to settle down, to some extent financially as well. But then went back to do an MBA at Kellogg, and at that point again, we were not in a very good. We spent the money that we've saved in US, and I have a young daughter at that point. So that we all have life realities before we decide to sort of take the plunge and become an entrepreneur. But what I realized was that fear often is actually much larger than the actual risk itself. And we make a lot of our decisions based on fear versus risk. So if I think of myself and say, okay, why should I become an entrepreneur? I had to evaluate what is it that I'll lose? So I would lose a job in McKinsey. I might be 2 years behind on my career in that way. But then the opportunity cost of what I could gain was much higher. So I think my thought process in this, as you're sort of thinking about a jump and next thing, is often things that we're worrying about are just stopping us. I think it's important to sort of write them out, figure out what those things are. So in our case, I had a conversation with my wife and said, this is the 2 years, this is how we're gonna live, is that okay? We rented a basement to become an Airbnb. And I felt like you always have to take the risk, but the risk is not as bad as it is. So quantifying that, understanding what it is, I think just gives the clarity of purpose to kind of go further. So that was how it happened in our case.